session is more useful the more questions that we have coming from the providers who are in attendance. So with that, oh, and I should also mention that we are going to record the webinar. So if you have team members who aren't with us today who did want to see this, pretty soon, probably give us a couple days or a week or so, we'll have the webinar recording ready and we'll share that as well for any future viewing. So with that, I'll go ahead and hand it over to Amy. And Amy, if you could please introduce yourself, that would be phenomenal.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Steve. It is an honor to be here today and be able to share a little bit about what we're doing over here at DiningRD. I have been with DiningRD for just at 10 years, and I am a registered dietitian myself, although I've spent less and less time kind of using my more kind of traditional RD skills. And instead, in my current role, I'm helping to really navigate our software product, listening very closely to our operators and understanding what the needs are of our senior living industry, as well as how our needs are changing in food service and hospitality specifically. So I'll share just a little bit more about DiningRD too. We're not new to this industry. Actually, we're born out of a merger and acquisition with a hospital-based group here in St. Louis, Missouri, where we're headquartered back in 1994. And we have specialized in senior living, skilled assisted living, memory care since 1994, not only with our software product that I'm going to share with everyone today, but the other arm of our business, which is all centered around dietitian consulting services.
Awesome. All right. Well, yeah. And I think from here, if we wanted to get into any presentation or demo from here, but then yeah, just another reminder to the attendees, if you have questions, please use the Q&A feature. We don't really want to use the raise hand feature just because we can't unmute or turn on people's cameras. So just go ahead and use the Q&A and we'll be sure to get to you before the webinar is up. But yeah, Amy, I'll let you take it from here.
Okay, sounds great. All right, let me just bring up my screen here. So part of what is extra exciting today for all of you is being able to showcase for the very first time publicly our brand new look to our dining software, which we affectionately call Dining Manager. So Dining Manager has received its first instance kind of back in the early 2000s and has been in need of a bit of a facelift. However, for our long-term clients, we really wanted to make sure that we maintained the single greatest feedback that we receive nearly on a daily basis, which was how user-friendly the platform is. So that of course was at the very forefront of our priority list, ensuring that we could have a solution that would work for food service managers and operators in the senior living space without needing to spend hours behind a computer screen. So here you have the new version, which we're affectionately calling V2 of our Dining Manager platform. One of the things that we do with our clients is to customize any part of the program with specialized branding or logoing based on either that individual community or corporate group, management entity, however that might look for your particular organization. So you can see here just some access to some general documents and resources, and we can get into a little bit more about that a little bit later. So I'm actually going to kind of navigate between both our legacy system as well as our new version. So not to worry, we're going to come back to this just momentarily. As I mentioned, Dining Manager really is a full suite of software solutions specific to the food service department. And part of what we know makes all of that go round is ensuring that there is adequate and sufficient information with regard to menu planning and recipe development, the ingredients and the costing, all of those individual components that may exist separately for a food service operator and can be, really challenging to try to get, your arms around. So our very heart of our program is called the Menu Planner. And within Menu Planner, a food service manager operator can completely customize a menu and make it exactly what works for their community. And what we find working with our client base across the country is that what may work for one community in one particular region may not work for a community that's just a few miles down the road. So this ability to customize and build a menu that works specifically for your community is something that is incredibly important to us here at DiningRD. So here's our menu planner feature. Now this is set up within a cycle menu in this particular example. And what you see here is the ability to actually customize this menu. This is all done in a very simple to use click, drag, and drop in order to move menu items from one place to another. But it also features our database of recipes. So if you were searching for something new to bring to your menu, I can simply search our database in order to pull on something brand new to the menu. So maybe a blondie brownie sounds good today for dessert. So simply by clicking on that item, dragging, dropping it into place, and then clicking on an item to remove it is just as simple as dragging it over to the left to remove it from the menu. So very simple to make all of those customizations to your menu while also receiving all of the rest of the reporting that would need to happen within the menu system. So I'll get into that here in just a moment, but with one change that's automatically updating recipe reports and production worksheets and anything else related to the food service department that we would need as kind of extra collateral. Now, the other thing that is here for our end users is the ability to customize a recipe. Again, speaking to this idea that really food is so very personal, and we want residents to have a voice in the food that they're receiving, and for that food service manager, chef, dining director to have the ability to further customize a menu or a recipe. Any one of our base recipes can actually be copied so that the community can actually, really make it their own. And these recipes automatically go into their very own category called house recipes. Those are completely segmented so that only that community can see their house recipes. And that feature is also available within a corporate group so that certain recipes could actually be shared within a group of homes or a group of communities if that's applicable. So I'm just going to rename this because at the end of the day, even without making any significant changes to the recipe, I can really add a level of personalization by, changing the name. Maybe it was a resident or staff member who gave us this idea for this particular recipe, menu idea. I could just change that recipe name. And actually, when I go into search now, I can pull through those house recipes and be able to see all the different house recipes that I've created. But now I can go find that vegetable soup that I've personalized, drag that onto the menu so that now, again, really gives that ownership opportunity for resident or staff member to be able to see that information. Now, there are lots of other features within just the menu planner. One really kind of easy to use thing would be for special events that might happen within your community. You don't have to ever lose the menu items themselves. We can just simply place them into a holding area. And now we can have a special event for Super Bowl tailgate. And be able to have recipes and diet spreadsheets and any other related information for a special event even. And as soon as that event is over, just simply flip back the menu into place. So again, very simple to use tools for the food service department. I'll share a couple of options for kind of integration and other efficiencies, but the other thing that has been very front of mind for our clients is the ability to also manage the cost involved in our food service operations. So right here within the menu planner, I can actually get an estimated cost based on the vendor that is tied to this particular account. Again, so very helpful so that I can make an informed decision about changing certain things on the menu, whether the cost has become cost prohibitive to my community, or I simply, want to search and find something new to pull onto the menu. So I'm able to see not only a portion cost, but an ongoing kind of average cost to the menu as well. So as I mentioned, after all of those changes and customizations have been made, now, of course, the community has access to all of the available reports that are equally as important to this whole process. So, the recipes themselves, a week at a glance report, all of these things that play into our food service operations. I actually want to highlight just a few of these with the short time that we have available. So I'm going to highlight first a shopping list report that's available to be customized based on the days in which you would need to order for your delivery schedule based on that vendor food service provider. Now I can scale my report here based on the census numbers, and we'll get to this in just a minute, but this number 17 in this instance is not random. That actually happens to be the current census in my building. So because of the integrated resident management feature within Dining Manager, actually know how many residents we have, as well as the exact diet counts for any of those specialized therapeutics or texture modified diets. So now I can simply pull forward this shopping list to know what I need to have on hand. We have so very many partners that we work with across the country in terms of broadline distributors that we are able to work with any provider to be able to support what you see in the second and third columns here, a suggested product number and pack size from that broadline distributor. Again, giving one more piece of information right here in one place so that I know now not only how many hamburger buns I'm going to need to have on hand for these days of the menu, but exactly which item number I should be looking for when I go to place that order with my food service distributor. So again, the shopping list report, completely customizable, but can really help with that overall operational efficiency to know exactly what I need to have on hand for those days of the menu based on the census, the total number of people that I would be feeding for those days of the menu. Now, in conjunction with that, let me actually go back to my reports here and I'll highlight a few other very important reports to operation, starting with our recipes. We'll just randomly choose day 4 here to take a look at. I will include a vendor item number again, just so I can show you that. And recipes are unique because recipes can be scaled to any quantities. So maybe in your community, it would make sense to choose a low, average, and high census number, but I really want to highlight here, you can pick any numbers. These do not need to have rounded off numbers or anything to that effect. And that same process can actually be done for any of the therapeutic or texture modified diets. Any census numbers that make sense to your community can be programmed in, and the computer is going to automatically be able to scale that recipe appropriately for us. So here you see my recipes, starting off first with breakfast. I'm just going to scroll down here until we get to something a little bit more exciting than bacon and toast. The other thing for any kind of food service aficionados on the call today, you can see that Dining Manager is equipped to handle the new IDSI dysphagia regulations. However, that is an optional feature that is not something that is required and can be turned on or turned off for each individual community. So here's my baked Dijon salmon for today. Again, I happen to choose asking for 17, 30, and 99 servings, and it's automatically updated all of that information. Every recipe features not only the portion size, but what day and meal this recipe is being used, The box on the right-hand screen highlights all of the very important safety information, the critical control points with everything from hand washing to temperature control to make sure that we're operating safely and efficiently in our food service department, as well as at the bottom of every recipe with any allergen information we should be aware of. When I scroll down, I'm also given, I had chosen to select a puree texture modification, and you can see my recipe here for that puree texture modification, and so on and so forth. So a recipe for every single menu item that is here in the menu that we're going to need today. Very helpful there. No guessing from my food service department. And of course, we're getting the consistency every single time that, it doesn't matter who's doing the cooking today. We're getting that same standard recipe, which we know is so very important. I want to highlight one final thing, but as you can see, there are so very many reports that can be pulled through the plateful product, the menu side of the program here. I want to highlight our production worksheet because, again, this is an area where right now, as we experience these very significant staffing challenges in senior living, being able to organize your operation for production efficiency is incredibly helpful, and making sure to communicate all of that to your team members. So I'm just selecting some information here so we can pull a sample report. And my production worksheet's going to be organized for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So I'm just going to simply scroll down here just a little bit so I can show you this lunch option, kind of zoom in here. Now, again, I had selected the number 30 for my total census. And actually what this report has been set up to do is scale and know how many servings I'm going to need for not only my main item, but it's also breaking out that in this instance, I have 3 individuals who are on a pureed modification and 2 individuals who need to receive a heart healthy modification. So it's automatically kind of, again, pulling all of those numbers for production purposes so that I know that, highlighting the portion size for my team members. And the rest of this worksheet is intended to be just that, a worksheet, so that my team members can write in special instructions, record their production numbers, document their food temperatures, and even assign who's responsible for this menu item. Now I can include always available or restaurant style menu items that might have available. And probably most importantly, the ability to automatically show anything that's going to need advanced preparation coming up on the menu. So in this instance, we know now that we need to be pulling out that pork loin so we can start thawing that. No one's going to be in a panic that morning that the item is still frozen and we don't have that ready for service today. So really great information automatically. And again, all of these items that I've now shown you are a result of making those menu changes in the menu planner, and automatically those then populate all of the corresponding reports here within the rest of the dining manager system. So really super helpful for those efficiencies. So as I've shared, there are still lots more reports that are available. I guess I'll leave you with just kind of one additional report here from the menu side of things, which is kind of a pretty standard report in senior living, showcasing that week at a glance, being able to see the entire week for the food service operation. And again, this too can be customized. The area with the logo in the upper left-hand corner can be customized with your logo for that community, corporate group management, whatever makes sense there. So again, just an example in this case. So with the menu completely built, the next piece of the equation is essentially managing all of my residents and all of the many diet orders and food preferences and allergies that we have to contend with on a daily basis. And I'm excited to showcase, again, the work that is being done currently in our version 2 of our program. So here you can see my resident list, all of my residents nicely organized, and I can even see that right now I've got 2 residents who are not eating, who are NPO status, as well as the total census here for my community. And Just at a click of a button, I'm able to see the additional information for my resident. Here's Paul Bunyan, all of his necessary information and diet information, where he normally eats his meals. And at the top of the screen, I can manage the things that he needs for food service operations, the adaptive equipment or his favorite beverages, perhaps, any snacks or supplements that he should receive, as well as the dislikes that he has or intolerances, and of course, food allergies. So all very important information to have kind of contained in one place. And the meal card program does just that, allows that food service operator to really keep up and maintain all of the important information. I know we'll share a little bit later about some of the available integrations, but the information that populates here to the meal card portion of the product can be automated with an electronic medical record. So that would mean automation for anytime there's an admission, discharge, or transfer, even including the diet order information to automatically populate here into the meal card program, which is really helpful. Now, meal card has all sorts of reporting capabilities itself, not only printing a card with the menu items, which can be very helpful for making sure that we've got the exact menu specifications for a resident based on their diet restrictions. So that is one feature that is available here. We'll just generate a sample report. Meal cards can be organized, sorted, designed in a number of different ways. I'll just show you one sample here today in which I'm pulling all of my residents and I'm able to see all 3 meals here on one page and, print this to a perforated paper or cut them apart. George is a good example here on the far right-hand side of the screen, clearly indicating that George has an allergy to something in that menu item. So that layer bar probably corresponds, I'm going to guess, not with broccoli, but instead with chocolate, indicating to my team members that I should not serve that item to George. The program actually has some intelligence capability to actually build in automatic substitutions. And so I could have identified actually an automatic substitution in that case to replace that item. Here's an example with Mary where the computer did fill in an automatic substitution, in this case indicating with that S in the front of cottage cheese, so that, instead of the beans that were menued today, we are serving cottage cheese for Mary today. So again, some great functionality, but beyond just a card, a traditional card itself, the other thing that can be incredibly impactful for our teams is to be able to run tally reports and roster reports for my entire community, really keeping tabs on how many allergies we have across the community, what should I be aware of today. In-house, there's one person who has a chocolate allergy. Again, if I know that chocolate cake is on the menu tonight, that is a great way to anticipate what I'm going to need to have on hand for the menu. So lots of tallies, rosters, different ways to run all of those reports. Now, last but certainly not least, the Dining Manager program also features a point of sale opportunity to be able to actually take an order live at the table side, which is why we've aptly named this solution table side. So I'm just pulling up here on the screen a sample of my tablet. And, if you really think about this, it's a live or digital version of that meal card to be able now to go interact with my residents at the table and be able to offer them what is on the menu today. So we'll start with Mary here. I have all of the pertinent information about her diet or diet restrictions, and automatically the system knows what I can offer Mary based on the menu today, the featured menu items that are showing here at the top, as well as my restaurant style options. And in this case, hopefully many of you are familiar with the symbol or abbreviations for gluten-free. That G/F is indicating that Mary is in fact on a gluten-free diet, and we need to make that accommodation for her. So Mary now can help to select that she would like the baked potato, and down from the other items, she can also select a baked chicken breast and perhaps some ice cream and a gluten-free cookie. And when I'm ready, I can hit the submit button, read her order back, and then be able to hit submit to where that order is now processed or automatically printed to a small receipt printer in the kitchen, or can be queued up for printing at a desired time. So many of our clients are using this feature as a way to take orders ahead of time, receive a tally report to know exactly what they need to have on hand for the menu period, and then be able to, of course, serve that resident their desired meal. So just another kind of example here. This is another great kind of example of a safety parameter. This resident, of course, needing thickened liquids, including, of course, the soup. So here I've got that all programmed into the system without any additional thought given to it. So once more, this can simply aid with not only efficiencies, but communication and safety to make sure that we're really serving that person exactly what they should be having. The tableside program features the ability to take guest orders or hold an order or even review the orders that have already been submitted. And as I've been taking orders, the names have been graying out on my tablet so that everyone working on a tablet or device to take orders is actually informed about which orders have been taken and who has yet to place their order for a particular meal time. This, of course, would also correspond to an available report to know who even, declined a meal today. If Scott said, you know what, my family has brought in food, I can even make a note about that and be able to track that information on a corresponding report, which is, again, so super helpful from that just kind of regulatory standpoint. So with that, I know this has been a very quick kind of tour around the program and the solution that we have to offer with Dining Manager, but I do want to make sure that we save plenty of time to get back to all of the things that people might have to ask. And I know Steve has some things kind of queued up that he wanted to be able to share. So let me throw it back over to you, Steve.
Yeah, no, thanks, Amy. And it's really great to see the solution and the new version of it. I'm having flashbacks too to my early days in senior living when I worked in the kitchen and all the meal cards and nectar thick liquids and stuff. I remember the first time I made a thickened coffee. I was like, I want to try some of that. It's like a coffee jello,
Yes.
and I probably wouldn't do it again, but like, you learn things like that. So probably have those waking remembers in the middle of the night. All right, but yeah, just another reminder to the attendees, if you have questions, please post them in the Q&A portion of the Teams webinar. This is the time that we've dedicated to, actually asking some of the questions you may have based on what you saw today or anything you want to dive deeper into. So like Amy mentioned, I do have a few questions that just kind of come up just from my perspective. So Amy, I guess when I'm thinking of DiningRD myself, I guess one of the biggest attractors, in my opinion, is probably the integration with the distributors, and having the menu and the recipe recommendations based on what inventory you have, or being able to order what you're missing. Are there any other ways that DiningRD is simplifying the workflow for providers and giving them more advice with the dietitians that are on staff there? Anything else to that element?
So much emphasis on that very thing right now, especially because we know, again, as I have now mentioned multiple times, that there are so many challenges more than ever about budget control, staffing, just overall operation efficiency, kind of, that unfortunate, like doing more with less.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have made that a very significant priority within the solution itself. So I shared a little bit in that view about being able to look at your ongoing cost and what kind of average spend are you going to be making about that. Kind of if you're looking at a per patient day, how close are you to that target? But beyond that, we have built some really great efficiencies with food service vendors, distributors across the country, populating that updated pricing information on an ongoing regular basis, some as often as every single night.
Mhm.
And that gives up-to-date information. The other piece to that is some work that we've done with our integration partners specifically on kind of the procurement side of things. So two right now that are kind of major players in our industry, DSSI and procurement partners. And those two automations actually take everything one step further and actually will automatically populate a shopping cart in that solution
Oh, wow.
based on what is in the menu. So that, again, one more efficiency to help make that process all the more easier for that end user so that they can go directly over to whatever their procurement solution is, already have their menued kind of items available in their shopping cart, make a few additions, modifications if needed, and send that off for purchase, for fulfillment. So
Yeah.
really cool there.
No, that's awesome. I mean, with all the staffing challenges we're up against, like anything like that that can kind of help take away, you know, repetitive, mundane tasks and automate anything like that as much as possible so we can focus more on care is huge. Um, and I guess, somewhat related to the last question, but, there are some other, big names in this space in terms of what might be a competitive solution to DiningRD. I'm just kind of curious, how DiningRD differentiates from some of those vendors.
It's a really great question. And my simple answer to that probably goes back to what I started with when we kind of led off that we're not new to this industry. It's really kind of it's in our very DNA. Starting back in 1994 and our growing our network of registered dietitian consultants that has now actually grown beyond just dietitians, and we have chefs and certified dietary managers and other food service consultants that are working out in the industry. And that is really what is helping to inform the rest of our software decisions. So
Hmm.
that is the single biggest differentiator for us, is knowing that we've got constant eyes and ears and really kind of boots on the ground, knowing what's coming in terms of regulatory changes, if we're talking about skilled nursing, or what are trends in
Hmm.
operations happening in assisted living. Those are all things that really we really know because it's part of our everyday business that we're doing.
Okay. Great. And it looks like we do have a number of questions coming in from the attendees now. So I'll go ahead and put my questions on hold and get more to these ones.
Okay, great.
So starting from first order, one question that came through was, can you track residents who are out and will not be attending dining? Could we get reports showing residents that did not attend? We use this report to do wellness checks currently.
Yes. So that was exactly what I was kind of alluding to, sharing that tableside, that ability to track in tableside whether someone had simply declined the meal or they were out of the building. We have that corresponding report to be able to have information about knowing either kind of patterned, declining the meal, whether there's a pattern there that the registered dietitian might need to get involved or kind of intervene and understand a root cause or what else might be happening, or simply from kind of I'll put my regulatory hat on to give one more piece of information to a surveyor or a family member, even to be able to say, here's what's been going on, and here's the pattern. So
Okay.
um, yes, those are tools that are available today in the Dining Manager platform.
Okay, great. All right, and then I have another one in here. It says, I'm looking for kiosks for like taking orders, and tablets our servers can use, which I know you brought up a little bit there too. Um, Family and friends purchasing a dinner and getting a meal ticket, and are there integrations? So I guess those are some, this question, some prerequisites that we're looking for a solution like this. But then there's also a question here on, is there any integrations into systems like point-click care today? And I don't know if we can talk about subscription pricing or anything like that without knowing more details, but lots of questions in that post.
Okay, great. Let me see if I can kind of tackle a number of those things.
Yeah.
I did sort of gloss over, in addition to our kind of food service and product integrations, the other area that has been and will continue to be an immense area of focus for us is our other integrations. So, electronic medical records, point click care, matrix care, NetSmart, MyUnity, WellSky. Those are all kind of big names in the industry, and all things that are available, all integrations that are available today within the meal card product that I shared that would help to automate ADT information, populating that name, room number, basic allergies. And in some of those instances, we've even been able to populate the diet order and some of the specific nutrition related information, which is also really helpful. Um, Now, as we grow our integration partners, I'm excited to be able to share kind of some new ones that are coming down the horizon. One that we're working on right now is with Alice. And so I'm really excited about that for our assisted living clients who are utilizing that solution. That too is going to be really helpful. We've got some others for digital display boards and the other kind of integrated solutions for family engagement. Centrix, TSO Life are two that we're in active conversations and working through development. And we just continue to grow those. So my biggest take-home message here is that we will never say no to an opportunity to integrate with a senior living provider that is benefiting one of our operators. So if that is an opportunity, again, I'll use the word efficiency to add efficiency to your operation. We want to help you do that and get the menu information to the right place so that it can really serve you, serve your residents, the family members, everyone that you touch within your community.
All right. And then I have a couple questions in the row, all from one resource here. So I'll get to the first two, which seem related first. But the first one is, instead of printing orders, can you display on a screen in the kitchen? And do you also have the ability to do online ordering?
Okay, great questions. These are things that we're excited because they are very quickly approaching on our technology roadmap. So our team is actively working actually to kind of add some enhancements specifically to tableside for that order visualization on a display board, similar to what you might see kind of in a busy kitchen. If you went to an Applebee's or even a McDonald's and they've got a display board for tracking those orders. That is available today, but it's mostly been utilized by kind of a food service manager, kind of in their tucked away in their office. And we know that that's not as helpful as being able to have those orders displayed in active production in the back of the house. So I can confidently say by probably sometime in the middle of the year of 2024, we'll have some new and exciting things to kind of roll out for next things with production display.
Okay, awesome. And then how about the online ordering? Is that something that residents can do today?
Yeah, so I'll kind of those two things kind of marry together. So
Gotcha.
apologies, I kind of failed to lump that in, but active development that's being done there, as well as, again, I'll just highlight back to so many of the integration partners that
Mhm.
we've begun conversations with, we're in active conversations with, that have a solution that is already working within a platform that a client might be utilizing for resident engagement or
Mhm.
family engagement, that we'll be able to kind of piggyback off of, which is, again, exciting to consolidate efforts and make sure that we've got a streamlined approach to all of that information.
Okay. And that's a great segue into the next question here. This one is, do you have a seating solution or one that you integrate with?
Yeah, so right now there is not specifically a seating chart. However, seating assignments can be made within the resident profile if they have a favorite place that they're going to sit. That information is identified in the tablet solution itself and shows on the ticket. So
Mhm.
where we're seeing that particularly helpful is that you have a brand new staff member. They may not have learned all of the individual residents, but they may be able to learn kind of a table number dynamic. So that feature is available today in the meal card and over to the table side solution. And we are actively working through some conversations with providers that provide a more kind of robust, advanced kind of seating reservation system, I would say.
Okay, cool. All right. Another question on integrations. This one specifically, if there's any established integrations with resident portals like Cubigo for ordering meals, booking reservations, or viewing a meal point balance.
Yeah, Cubigo is yes, one of the partners that we're talking to right now, and we know that they've got some exciting things that are happening in terms of some new dining APIs that we're going to be able to utilize here very soon. So our two teams have been in active conversation, and that is one that we'll be very excited to kind of bring forward, hopefully in the new year.
All right, that's awesome. And then the next question, can we use the point of sale feature in other departments such as salon or a gift store for those charges? And similarly, as you're generating charges in DiningRD, I'm assuming that that information can integrate back to the billing software too, right?
We do have exported, reports that are available. So, there's some existing clients that are using that to, kind of re-upload into whatever billing platform that they might utilize. Within Dining Manager, we can already do a declining balance feature where we can track that declining balance information and track even guests that might want to kind of utilize a declining balance with the family member or friend that they're there visiting, which is really helpful. And for the other areas, again, I would really lean on those the resident engagement solutions that we're working towards.
Hmm.
The partnerships that we've already established. The extent would probably be really those food related areas, a bar, bistro, those things. Absolutely, we can help you to build an appropriate solution in those menued items that would be appropriate for kind of the food service department and food service tracking.
Okay. All right. Next question is, how do you manage having a meal delivered to a resident room versus eating in the dining room? Currently, we have a $5 upcharge for room delivery. And do you support specific kiosk machines, cash drawers, or taking credit cards?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely can be accommodated within the tableside solution to add an additional charge. And there is an ability to even kind of automate that based on where the delivery area is selected too.
Oh, cool.
Um, but I should have mentioned, I kind of failed to mention that the tableside solution, one of the things that makes it unique is it's not unique to the, Apple Store or the Google Play Store. It is a web mobile solution, which means that it can be accessed from any tablet or device doesn't matter the make or model, or even including a computer, a desktop or a touch screen, if that's a solution that is already, especially a piece of hardware that's already available, at a community, that's absolutely an option.
Okay. I'm glad you covered that because that was literally the very next question.
Okay, great.
So good future predicting skills. All right, next up, any integrations with data analytics or visualization tools such as Domo or Power BI?
Oh my gosh. So very exciting. And this is an area that I wasn't sure if this would come up in conversation. Um, Dining Manager has done something really exciting. We've been keeping kind of a tight lip about it, but I'll share it now. We have been tracking the dining data that is available within the software. So this is exciting for a number of reasons because of our number one, our client base, and having something like 3,000 software clients that are using pieces or components of the dining program. That gives us access to an immense amount of information, just
Mhm.
data. So our Dining Insights tool is available to clients where they can not only harvest their own information. How many times was meatloaf selected? What is the average kind of age of my resident
Mhm.
today? Kind of all of that information that might be really fast. How much money am I spending on my menu, or how much money has this one particular resident spent? So those kind of facts and figures are interesting enough on their own. But the other piece that we're excited about is the ability to anonymize and benchmark across other buildings that might be similar to your community, either with geography or size, or what the services that they provide. And of course, within a corporate organization, that also is going to be particularly interesting for from a corporate level, kind of to be able to see those nuances for individual communities within their portfolio. So
Mhm.
um, we are working through our very own tool that is available, but we do already have some ability to do kind of file sharing directly into Domo, Power BI, Tableau. Very interested. If there is someone out there who is interested in kind of learning more about that, I can absolutely share what we're doing with all that dining information.
Okay, awesome. I just want to know if people actually consume the nectar thick coffee. That's the data I want to see.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, I got one more question here from the audience. And it looks like that might be the end of them. I have a fewer other questions too myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, anybody else in the audience, if you have more questions, we still got 10 more minutes to go here. But the last one I see in the chat is does DiningRD work well in all levels of care? So like skilled nursing, personal care, independent living. Any thoughts or comments on that?
My basic kind of thought would be around something so very rudimentary, like the consistency of the food that you're providing. And often, in my experience, what we find is that there might be a feeling that even though there's not a regulatory requirement for having a standard recipe or standard food service kind of software system,
Mhm.
there are so many advantages to ensuring that we've got standardized recipes and reporting and menu planning. And again, we've really uh, try to make our program as user friendly as possible, so that that culinarian, that chef who's at an assisted living, independent living level, can still craft and create a menu that works for their kind of culinary vision and for the tastes and preferences of that community, without meeting any of the diet restrictions. However, that's the perfect little dotted line to say that again, what makes us unique is our entire client success team is made up of registered dietitians. Our menus are built with the idea of meeting basic nutrient requirements, so that right out of the box, we're giving you a menu that we know meets, a national kind of best practice
Hmm.
for seniors, and that they're going to get the kind of basic nutrients that is being suggested by FDA, USDA, and healthy guidelines for Americans. So without having a registered dietitian on staff, especially at an assisted living, independent living, you can get a menu and get the menu support that you need to ensure kind of the very best nutritional quality for your residents, no matter the level of care.
Okay, that's awesome. Right. We did have one more questions come in. Any use case around staff using DiningRD to order meals, and any integration with ADP in terms of meal deductions from their paycheck?
Such a great question. Again, kind of, it was an area that very early on in releasing tableside, we just wasn't that we hadn't anticipated it, but it really became an area that was so very useful to our clients. And again, I'll just kind of share from my own experience working as a consultant out in the field. The very best way to get buy-in from team members is to let them try your food, let them taste and have the same food that the residents are eating. So I love that, and I love anytime that a community is making staff meals available. So using that guest feature in Tableside, you can actually do that same tracking specific to an employee, actually associating it to an employee. There are export reports that we have clients that are using that, again, kind of in an export and an upload format into their kind of payroll systems. We'd be happy to look into additional automations for that process, or kind of integration partners as it might make sense for a client.
Okay, fantastic. All right. I think we only got time for probably two more questions here, and it looks like I got through all the audience questions, and the last
Great.
one's gonna be a really quick question.
Okay.
But the last question I had, which I think you started to touch upon there just a little bit, was any thing you can share about like what the implementation process looks like, or what kind of a burden that might be on the community until the solution's running full tilt. Is that a pretty light lift, or what does that look like in terms of DiningRD helping move that
Yeah.
out?
Thank you so much. I'm so glad that you asked that, because I'd be remiss not to talk about this. So, one of the very kind of cornerstones of our philosophy is that all of the onboarding and implementation is completely included in that software. And with that, you get access to a dedicated client success specialist who is a registered dietitian or a certified dietary manager with industry experience. I mean, that's the other thing that's
Mhm.
really unique is out of our team of now 10 full-time, but there's a few other part-time people who are on that client success team. They have all been consultants out in the field working in communities. And again, that uniquely positions them to be the best help that they can to that person who's on the phone, on text, on an
Mhm.
email, via a virtual kind of meeting like this one-on-one. So all completely included with that, not only onboarding, but ongoing support that might be needed. So no limit to any of that. And yeah, we're available. Call, text, chat, email, what carrier pigeon, whatever the case might be, to really help that food service manager be able to succeed.
Yeah.
Our product, the last thing I would add to that is that again, as I mentioned, one of the reasons that we started down this road for our version 2 of our software was to further enhance and really focus in on just how user friendly it is to implement and
Mhm.
operate. And we continue to really be dedicated to that very mission.
Mhm. Yeah, that's really cool. That's something that really got me early on, is that you have the dietitians actually acting as the consultants. That's kind of, our claim to fame on the EHR side is having nurses who worked in the communities implement the EHR. So that really resonates a lot. And then the last question I have is just if you or DiningRD are going to be at Leading Age Annual in a few weeks for anybody who else might be there and want to talk more in person.
Oh my gosh. So this is bittersweet for me. So I'm gonna have to say, unfortunately, due to some scheduling conflicts that were unforeseen, I'm not going to make it. However, I'm really hopeful that if somebody sees you, that they might be able to kind of. I'll ask Steve if you'd be willing to kind of be my proxy
Oh yeah,
at Leading
absolutely.
Age National. So sorry to miss it this year. Always, so much good information that's there. And I know ProviNET has a session that you're
Hmm.
doing. So very
Yeah.
exciting.
Okay. Well, yeah, no, I wasn't sure if you were going to be there or not, but yeah, absolutely. If anybody who knows me is on the thread here is going to be there and wants to talk more, I'll be happy to act as a proxy like that.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, I think that about does it for our hour, and I just wanted to thank everyone who made it, who participated, got some questions in, but mostly Amy, thank you so much for sharing more about DiningRD and showing the solution. I think it's fantastic to finally be able to do this for our customer base.
Well, thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah. All right. Thanks everyone. We'll talk soon and hope you all have a good rest of the day.
Thanks.
Bye.